Welcome to the ultimate guide of Microsoft Copilot. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what is Microsoft Copilot and looking at the free versus paid plan. I'm also going to be talking about ChatGPT and how it compares to Microsoft Copilot and when you should use one or the other. I'm also going to be showing you some of my favorite examples of how I have boosted my own productivity by 40% using Microsoft Copilot. And I'm also going to be looking at debunking some of the myths I've heard about Microsoft Copilot. But first off, let me introduce myself. My name is Dougie, and I am a Microsoft MVP. I help my clients around the world get the best return on investment from their Microsoft Copilot licenses. So if you need any support or assistance adopting Copilot, there's a link in the description below to contact me. So one of the common things I see about Copilot is how it's misspelt. Now, if you're researching about Copilot and you're trying to find information, you need to know that it's not spelt co-pilot, cop pilot, co-space pilot. It's just Copilot with a capital C. It's called Copilot because you should think about it like it is a virtual assistant. Like you're flying the plane of your job and you have somebody sat next to you who is your co-pilot, who is basically making your life easier, trying to be a bit more efficient. So there's two pairs of hands rather than just the one. So that's why it's called Copilot rather than autopilot. It's not necessarily going to be doing everything for you. It's not a silver bullet. It's not a big red shiny button that's going to fix every problem you've ever had. But the aim of Copilot is to make you potentially up to, say, 20, 30, or maybe even 40% more efficient. So you can focus on the work that you're really passionate about and you're really good at, whilst all those kind of administration tasks and boring things that you don't really want to be doing are taken care of by Copilot. Now, there is a free plan when it comes to Microsoft Copilot, and there is also a paid for license. Now, there's probably more of my day job, to be honest, that I'm looking at the paid for license plans. And the examples I'm going to be showing you later on would require the paid for license. But it's worth knowing that there is a free license as well for Copilot. But why would you use one or the other? Now, to think about the free version of Copilot, think of it a bit like ChatGPT. Well, to be honest, it's exactly the same as ChatGPT. It's a basically what we call grounded in the web, which means that you can ask it questions and it's only going to return information based on information that's found on the web, on the internet, as if like you Googled it yourself. It's basically taking that step away for you. It's not going to find information from inside of your organization. It's not going to find anything personalized necessarily for you. So why would you use the free version of Copilot instead of using just ChatGPT? Now, the two main differences. One is that you get a level of security for free with Copilot, which basically means that you can use your Microsoft 365 Entra ID, which is basically your email address and password that you're provided from your business to log in. So everything is done via those credentials. So say, for example, if an employee ever left, you could technically lock them out of the kind of information, the data that they've been using inside of the free Copilot. Um, the other thing as well is the fact that the ChatGPTs and other AI models are actually using your information that you're pumping into the prompts and the chats to train its model and learn from you. Now, this has raised a lot of issues, copyright concerns, things where, like with ChatGPT, images have been created where actually the kind of copyright labels and things like that have been part of the generated image. So it's clear that it is actually learning from what people are putting in there. So if you're putting in information maybe related to customers or partners, suppliers, things which would be a bit sensitive, you don't necessarily want to be putting that into the public domain, which technically, if you're using ChatGPT, that is what you're doing. Whereas using Copilot, even the free plan, the Copilot engine is never trained on the information and the prompts that you're giving it. So basically, your data is a lot more secure with the free Copilot plan than with any ChatGPT plan. Whereas the paid license for Copilot, essentially, you get all of the above in terms of what you get with a free Copilot, as in the web related searches, the security. However, you are also getting it to be grounded in your documents in Microsoft 365. So, what does that actually mean? It means that you could search for content using Copilot and it's going to find relevant information based on the documents that you have stored in, say, SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, and things like that. It's also going to be able to interact with all the Microsoft Office based products like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, things like that. And later in this video, I'm going to be showing you some real world examples of how we can not only search but create documents using Copilot. Can I ask a quick favor from you? Please do subscribe to my channel. It's a free way that you can say thank you to me, and it's truly appreciated. It will also mean that you're much more likely to see more valuable content from my channel in the future. Please subscribe now. Thank you. So, I've talked a lot so far and covered the basics of Microsoft Copilot, but now I actually want to get into something which is going to be a lot more visual, giving you real world examples of Microsoft Copilot. So, within this section, I'm going to be covering off some of my favorite examples of Microsoft Copilot that's going to give you a bit of food for thought about how you could potentially be using Copilot as well. So, let's dive in and take a look. So this real world example of using Copilot was to find a document that I couldn't find after searching for an hour inside of my own SharePoint, Teams, and OneDrive. Now, where it was inside my colleague's OneDrive. Now, that doesn't mean it's hacked her OneDrive. What it means is that I have access to that document. She created it, she shared it with me. I'd forgotten about that, and it's very difficult to manually find it myself. But Copilot found it with ease, and I use this now going forward in the future to save me tons of time searching. This next example highlights the real importance of why you need to make sure that your SharePoint is fully up to date and cleansed. Now, what I mean by that is having all your policies, procedures, and documents polished in a way that you would be happy for anyone to find them and get rid of anything you don't want them to see. Now, what I'm showing you in this example is I'm asking a question about holiday and my entitlement, and what Copilot is doing is it's going and looking at SharePoint. Now, this isn't a agent that's pre-configured. It's just Copilot that's looking at all the policies and procedures on our SharePoint site. It's even referencing where it's getting this information from, and then will even come up with its own follow-up prompts that it thinks I should ask. So I might want to ask it, say, about flexible leave, or can I purchase more leave? And essentially, it's then going to look at this more and come back with more information, and again, referencing where it's getting that information from. This saves loads of time for our HR department. So, this next example is really for those who struggle with creating imagery, or maybe you're trying to save money on stock image libraries and things like that. You can use Copilot to create images which can then be used in presentations, proposals, and so much more. It really adds a kind of a breadth of types of imagery that you could potentially be using, because you can completely customize it with your own prompt about what you want it to look like, the colors, and the style that it actually then uses to create that image. Now, all of the examples that we've seen so far have been using Copilot inside of, say, Microsoft Teams. It's just a direct chat. But let's not forget that we can also use Copilot directly inside of Microsoft 365 Office products, say, for example, like with Word. Now, what we're doing here is we already have a workshop report, a proposal document for a customer created. But what I'm wanting to do is ask Copilot to take the role of somebody to actually give us feedback. Now, I could ask it to take the role of a senior, say, consultant, if it's SharePoint in this case, a senior SharePoint consultant, to give feedback on this particular report. But in this case, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to take the role of a customer and then give feedback based on, if this was a customer receiving this document, what would they expect to see? So we have a much better chance of converting this proposal into an actual sale. Now, you can see here it's given some really good breakdowns about what potentially they would be interested in. Things like, we've not included too much information about the design and the user experience. Maybe we could add some more information on the security and the compliance aspects. And or maybe, for example, in this proposal, we haven't actually included any references or case studies, and that would make a massive difference to how we then sell this project to our customer. Something else which would also make a big difference to how we sell this proposal back to our customer would actually be to have a pitch deck created from this proposal. So some of our proposals can be, say, 5 to 10,000 words. It can be very meaty. So instead, what I could do is I could go into PowerPoint, choose the Copilot option, and choose the create a presentation from a file. Then all I need to do is go and change which file it's looking at. So I'm going to select the Contoso presentation, which is the proposal that we were looking at in the last example. And then this is going to go away and now create me a pitch deck directly from this proposal. Now, I probably would want to give it a bit more direction. So, what you will tend to find with PowerPoint is that it will create way more content, way more slides than you probably actually need, unless you really give very specific guide rails about what you do want it to include and what you don't want it to include. Now, it will also pop up in the chat. It's a bit small in this example, so it's hard to see, but it will show you in the chat what it's planning on creating. So if, say, for example, it was halfway through the planning and you thought, actually, this is going in the wrong direction, I don't want it to continue, you can choose to get it to stop, and you can see a little progress bar at the bottom of PowerPoint as well. And by selecting that, you can choose to stop it at any point in time. Then what it will do is it'll create all those slides. Now, if I wanted this branded, I could have started this off in a templated branded design if I wanted to, or I can always choose to apply colors, brand palettes to it afterwards. But you can see it's created all the slides I need. It's got the agendas, it's got the introduction, the key workshop overview, attendees. It's pulled through images, it's pulled through text, it's pulled through tables, and so much more. And in fact, actually, some of these images that you see here were not in that proposal document. It's actually used its kind of own initiative and used some of the stock image library to bring that through. And as you can see, I can then easily apply my own images and my own brand on top of it as well. And now the final example I want to show you is in Microsoft Excel. I don't know about you, but I'm actually really terrible with Excel. So using Copilot to easily create charts, pivot tables, things like that has been fantastic. I can take this giant sheet of information, in this case it's about insurance claims, and I can ask Copilot to create me a graph, which I can easily then add onto a new tab, and even it's brought through things like filters, which I can then apply to adjust that graph afterwards. Now, of course, I could have figured this out myself, but Copilot got me there in 2 steps. A very common myth when it comes to Microsoft Copilot is that Copilot can access everything inside of your Microsoft 365 environment. That is just simply not true. Copilot can only access what the user can access. It's just another way of getting to information. So, just like if they could use a search bar inside of SharePoint to find documents, Copilot will be able to find exactly the same documents. It can't do anything over and above what the user can currently access. Another common misconception about Microsoft Copilot is that it can automate everything. Now, we have to set expectations when it comes to Copilot that it's not this magic giant button which is going to automate and fix everything. In fact, actually, you have to make sure that you're thinking of it in the right frame of mind, which is that it's basically making you more efficient. So, whatever you're currently doing, it's likely going to be making you maybe 20, 30, 40% more efficient than you currently are. Now, it can do this in a number of ways, but essentially it's just going to speed up the way that you're currently working rather than necessarily going off and creating a whole bunch of different automations that's going to replace any specific business function. This brings me on to the next Copilot myth, which is that it's going to take your job. A lot of people are very fearful of AI and think that it's going to replace them and take their job. That's not the aim of this. In fact, actually, a recent Microsoft study where they've conducted a study across the world of about 100,000 different IT leaders and senior C suite CEOs and people like that, is that the plan is not to replace or sack everybody and replace with AI. The plan is to make the existing workforce more efficient. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that AI is going to negatively impact your job, but what I would say is that although the AI and Copilot isn't necessarily going to take your job, somebody who knows how to use AI potentially could. So you do need to upskill, you do need to be ready because employers and workforces are going to be expecting to be using AI as part of their day to day work. The final myth about Copilot is relating to the feeling that you have to apply Copilot across every piece of SharePoint and Teams and documents that you have. You don't need to do that. You can roll it out in segments. So, if, say, for example, you've got a bunch of SharePoint sites, but only the HR policy site is published and ready to go with cleansed, relevant information that you're willing to surface to all employees, then you can just lock Copilot down just to surface information from that one SharePoint site and then slowly drip feed through more areas of your Microsoft 365 environment as and when they've been cleansed and you're ready and happy that people can access that information. Need a Microsoft expert for your next project? There's a contact link in the description below.